People in the lowlands spoke of the mountain in lowered voices, as if sound itself might carry secrets uphill. They called it the Mountain of Whispers, though no map recorded that name. On old survey charts it appeared only as a crooked spine of stone rising from the eastern fog, its peak forever bruised by cloud. Shepherds swore the wind there spoke in sentences. Traders claimed their thoughts were not entirely their own after passing near its slopes. Mothers warned children that if they listened too closely, the mountain would remember them. Aaron grew up hearing those warnings like nursery rhymes, half threat, half lullaby. He was a cartographer's son, raised among parchment and ink, taught that land could be measured, named, and mastered. Yet even his father, who trusted angles more than omens, never drew contour lines too close to that mountain. Some places, he would say, rolling up his maps with unusual care, do not want to be finished. When Aaron was 17, his father vanished. The last map he left behind lay unfinished on the table, the ink drying into a jagged outline that pointed unmistakably toward the Mountain of Whispers. No body was found, no tracks returned, only the mountain remained, crouched on the horizon like a patient listener. For 3 years, Aaron tried to live as if mountains did not call people by name. He apprenticed in the city, learned to copy maps instead of making them, traced roads that others had already walked. But each night, just before sleep, he heard it, not with his ears, but somewhere behind his thoughts. A susurration, like breath through stone, shaping itself into words he could almost understand. Come. On the morning he finally left, the city bells were ringing for a festival. Aaron packed light, a compass, a blade, his father's journal, and a blank book of his own. He did not tell anyone where he was going. The mountain already knew. The foothills were gentler than the stories suggested, rolling grassland stitched with streams and wildflowers. Birds nested freely, and the air smelled of pine and wet earth. Aaron almost laughed at himself for expecting instant dread. That was when the whispers began to change. At first, they were only fragments, like overheard conversations carried by wind, a laugh, a sigh, a word repeated twice. Aaron told himself it was exhaustion. He kept walking. By the second day, the voices grew clearer. Should have turned back. Promised I'd return. Aaron stopped. The slope ahead was empty. No figures moved among the rocks. He remembered something an old monk once said in the city. The mountain does not speak, it reflects. That night he dreamed of his father, standing with his back turned, sketching the mountain's peak. When Aaron called out, his father did not answer, but the mountain did, echoing his voice back at him, older and thinner, as if time itself had eroded it. Aaron woke with his heart racing and found a symbol carved into the stone beside his campfire. It was a cartographer's mark. Higher up, the path narrowed. Trees thinned into twisted silhouettes, their branches bent as if bowing to something unseen. Aaron encountered others there, not living people, but impressions left behind. A woman sat on a rock, humming softly. She wore clothing from a century ago, her outline flickering like heat haze. When Aaron approached, she looked at him with startled eyes. "Have you seen my brother?" she asked. Aaron opened his mouth to answer, then realized she wasn't truly seeing him. She was replaying a question she had asked long ago. Around her, the air thickened with memory. A soldier polishing a dented helmet, a child crying for a lost goat, a scholar arguing aloud with no one. They were not ghosts in the usual sense. They did not linger out of unfinished business. They lingered because the mountain had listened and refused to forget. Aaron understood then The whispers were not lies or temptations. They were recordings, etched into stone and wind. The mountain was an archive, and his father was somewhere inside it. On the fourth day, snow appeared in thin, deceptive patches. Aaron's breath fogged as he climbed, his legs burning. He took shelter in a shallow cave and finally opened his father's journal. The early pages were practical, measurements, sketches, notes on mineral composition. But as the entries progressed, the handwriting changed, grew tighter, more urgent. The mountain responds to attention. The more carefully I observe, the more it reveals, but not always what I seek. I believe it feeds on intention, not souls, not bodies, purpose. The last entry ended mid-sentence. If I am right, then the whispers are not a warning, they are an invitation to be. The page tore there, ragged as if ripped by hand. Outside the cave, the wind rose, and with it came a familiar voice. "Aaron!" He stood so fast he struck his head on the stone ceiling. "Father?" No answer, only the echo of his own hope thrown back at him.
Near the mountain's heart lay a narrow pass where the stone walls rose smooth and reflective like polished obsidian. Aaron saw himself there from 1,000 angles, older, younger, wounded, triumphant. Each reflection whispered a different choice. Turn back, climb faster, stay. His compass spun uselessly. Direction meant nothing here. At the center of the pass stood a figure made of shadow and light. It had no fixed shape, but its presence felt vast, attentive. "You listen well," it said, though its mouth did not move. "What are you?" Aaron asked. "I am what remains when enough voices are gathered," the figure replied. "I am the mountain's memory given form. Did you take my father?" "I did not take him. He offered himself." The words cut deeper than any blade. "Why?" Aaron demanded. "Because he wished to understand," the figure said gently, "and understanding always leaves a mark." The figure led Aaron to a vast hollow near the summit, where the stone walls pulsed faintly with light. Voices filled the air, not chaotic, but layered, like a great cord held for centuries. At the center stood his father, older than Aaron remembered, yet calm. His eyes shone with quiet awe. "You came," his father said. "You left," Aaron replied. His father smiled sadly. "I stayed." He explained then, the mountain did not imprison people, it preserved them at the moment their purpose burned brightest. To leave was possible, but it meant letting go of the need to know everything. "I chose to remain," his father said, "to listen, to become part of something larger than my own life." Aaron felt the pull then, a profound temptation to stay, to add his voice to the endless record, to never lose another truth. "And if I leave?" Aaron asked. "Then you will forget some things," his father said, "and that forgetting will hurt, but it will also make room for new maps." Aaron chose to leave. The mountain did not protest. The whispers softened, receding into wind and stone. As he descended, memories blurred at the edges, not erased, but gently muted. By the time he reached the foothills, he could no longer recall his father's face clearly. Only the feeling remained, pride mixed with sorrow. In the years that followed, Aaron became a master cartographer. His maps were unlike any others. Where land resisted certainty, he left white space. Where stories clustered too thickly, he added notes instead of lines. At the edge of every map, near the eastern fog, he drew a small, unfinished symbol. When asked about it, he would smile and say, "Some places are listening." And far away, the mountain of whispers kept its silence, full, patient, and complete.